Hello and welcome to Gaming Knuckleheads Talk, the show where I might or might not be harassed by a kitten currently in heat. I mean, not really a kitten going to be turning 4 in December, but you know. Almost couldn't
There'll always be one.
Almost couldn't get up to plug in the ring light when I was setting the shit up. So just do my dailies in a phone game really quick because it takes 2 seconds, and let's get the first and most loaded topic out of the way. When is it a genuine challenge? When is the CPU cheating? And as a third one that I couldn't be bothered to put into the description, when is the developer just being a giant fucking jackass?
Oh.
I mean, I'll start out with a really big one, and this just seems... This one just seems to drag the fanboys out in droves, but in the Sword and Shield era, I participated in a max raid battle. Pikachu that used the G-Max. It either used Volt Tackle or the G-Max Steel type move.
Okay.
I caught it. It did not have the move it was using in the battle. An additional G-Max Snorlax. I counted 5 different moves in it when I was battling it. And my personal favorite, Matt, Pokemon knowledge, true or false? Psychic type moves can hit dark type Pokemon.
I really don't know because my Pokemon knowledge is very small.
Brent, same question.
It's been a while. I don't really remember if Psychic can hit. I do know that Psychic is weak to dark.
Answer is false. Unless you're playing in a 7-star raid battle. Because apparently, Iron Leaves was using its signature Psychic type move earlier this year to one-hit KO dark type Pokemon like Kingambit. And what happened when you caught it?
Did not have that move.
So what was the CPU doing in all 3 of these instances?
Well, I think it goes without saying.
Cheating. So why is it so wrong for me to use cheat codes against the computer? I mean, Game Freak says it's okay. They let the CPU cheat in the games. And to me, that's not a genuine, legitimate challenge. If it has to be, if you're going to make a genuine, legitimate challenge, you need to have the computer playing by the same rules that you expect the player to abide by. You know, like, take games by From Software, like Dark Souls. It's all about pattern recognition. You can feel a sense of genuine, what's the word I'm looking for?
Challenge.
Satisfaction.
When you figure out the patterns that the bosses need, that the bosses use, you know? But then there are just some instances in some games where they put something in that they claim is a challenge, and it's literally just like, we make this super frustrating. They're going to say this game's too hard, and then everyone will tell them to get good. The difference between a genuine challenge and a developer just being a jackass, in my opinion, is whether or not that sense of satisfaction is there.
Yeah.
Well, I think that depends on how the player's tolerance is for frustration.
Maybe, but we still got to remember there still are instances where just everybody unifies and says, okay, thank God that is over.
Yeah, because in my opinion, a challenge needs to have a satisfying reward at the end. Like, you need to feel satisfied with what happened. Or, like, and that could be, like, either completing it or, like, say, with your references with Pokemon Gear, if the Pokemon that you were engaging was giving you such a hard time because of certain movesets it has, and then you catch it, and it doesn't have those movesets, that's not satisfying.
Exactly. And the 7-star raids are frustrating enough.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up just going into the fucking North Province with the bamboo and catching. And catching and knocking out 3 of the Bisharps to just evolve my Bisharp into King Gambit. Because I tried catching a King Gambit on its own because I thought that it was going to be harder than it looked.
Mm-hmm.
Only King Gambits available were 7 stars, and they were a pain to go after.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, I think as far as challenge and cheating goes, I mean, I don't really have a problem with if the challenge is too unfair that they just made it to where you can't even begin to approach the CPU, then I can see where it'd be fun to cheat as long as it's not in like a multiplayer game or something.
Exactly. I feel there are instances where, in some cases, cheating can be justified, but never, ever bring it into the online unless you and a group of friends are playing with cheat codes in a personal lobby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I've honestly there's 2 ways that cheats can work on multiplayer. Either if you're doing it in like an open party area, then mostly just be a jackass. But if you're doing it with everyone, then you guys are just about to have like some really fun doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's like when Stefan and I did the 2 Psychos Rampage Across San Andreas video. We were playing with some cheat codes intact, but it's like we were doing it just for the fuck of it and for fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because I thought it would be a fun video to post. I mean, that ending I still think is epic,
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah, and in the game GoldenEye, like if you got through levels fast enough, you could get cheat codes and stuff, and that was always fun to do with friends.
Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, like the developers put just for fun cheat codes. Like roller coasters and water rides are limited by a height restriction. You can name one of the characters in the park a specific name, and you can make roller coasters with no height restrictions. Imagine like a 600-foot tall drop on a 90-degree incline. Now, maybe fun in the virtual, but as a roller coaster freak, pretty sure that would fucking kill a man in real life.
Yeah.
Yes.
G-forces would be insane.
But I mean, they put them into the game because like here you can play around and experiment with shit by naming the peeps in your park this or that and this, and these little fun things will happen.
Yep.
And again, the game itself isn't super challenging. You just got to be good with like your management skills. But yeah, it's like, and like I said, there are instances where like if you're not satisfied, if all you can think when you're done with a challenge that was giving you trouble is, I am so glad that's over. You're not going to want to do it again, and it really speaks to. Just wasn't a fair, legit, good challenge,
Yeah.
I've had mixed reactions to challenges in games. There have been ones where I've been like, oh, this is a pain. Oh, hey, check it out. I cleared that like a fucking champion. Yay! And then there have been times like, I probably won't play this game again. Keep it around if my friends want to play it, but probably not me. Yeah. But that's pretty much, I mean, what are some challenges that you think are fair and balanced, and that you guys think are unfair from personal experience? So use my shelves to see if I can come up with anything. I can barely see in here. Did you miss me?
Oh, you left? I'm trying to think because usually I can't really think of any particular challenges I've done that are well. Most of the ones I can think of aren't really CPU related. They're more like level design, like in certain
I mean,
platformer.
that's legit. That's legit. Challenges in general, like the cheating CPU, just comes into things involving the CPU.
Okay, well, I mean, I do like the game a lot. Crash Bandicoot 4, I do like the game a lot, but I will say that as the game goes on, the challenge range starts getting a bit higher and higher in certain areas. It starts out in a way where it's like, at first it's satisfying to get through there, and then I believe at least like the second to last and the last like stages start to get to the point where the challenge is like, thank God I got to the checkpoint. I don't have to go through that shit again.
Yeah. I mean, in the early stages, I died a lot playing on the Infinite Lives mode.
Mm-hmm.
But once I figured out where to make the jumps and how to do the timing, it was like, okay.
Yeah.
That was a pain in the ass, but I'm not complaining. I got through it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, again, game's good. It's just like, the developers definitely were like going for a way where it's like every stage you go into, it gets harder.
It's because everybody learned their lesson after the control debacle of the original game.
Yep.
That's probably a story for another day, though. But everybody who played the original Crash Bandicoot and even played the emulated version on I have the Insane Trilogy back here on the. You can see my Switch games in the top shelf, like fucking.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that game had infamously bad controls.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, bad level design. I could do a whole fucking series on instances where it just feels like, oh, this is just a badly designed level. What the hell were they thinking? But that could also easily be a future topic on the show. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But in instances where it just feels like, thank God, it's like, when did you go too far? When did you get too ridiculous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that could be the case. Like, it's not like them trying to be, like the developers trying to be like, quote, jackasses. They might just be like going with greater ideas and don't realize when is going too far.
50-50 split. If a developer knows they're going too far, that's jackass territory.
Yeah,
if they don't realize they're going too far, give them a pass. Just criticize them. Like, I don't know if I told you guys this. I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before, but Simulacra was created. The game Simulacra was created because one YouTuber, Nick Nocturne of Nightmind, gave the prequel game, the game that came before, Sarah is Missing, such an in-depth, scathing, heavily critical review that the developers made the sequel based off of his highly negative review, and then contacted him and said, did we do a better job this time? Will you please play our game and tell us? And he said they did a better fucking job this time.
Yeah.
So it's like, if a developer is doing something, and that just it doesn't go for bad challenges. It also can go for, like level design, gameplay,
Yeah.
When you fuck up, you shouldn't be afraid to listen to what the people are saying. And that's another thing that I've not always seen eye to eye with people on. I feel like there comes a point where developers do have an obligation to listen to criticism and feedback, Like, take that one developer like Fishy Boy or whatever his name was.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Some Canadian dude made a game that everyone said was bad. And then he literally started threatening to sue people if they didn't kiss his ass.
Yeah. Name wasn't kicking in, but I do know who you're talking about.
And people talk about that guy, and they're like, well, he's right. Game developers can do whatever they want, and they don't have to listen to people. We're talking about a guy who literally thinks he's God's gift to video games. and
Yeah.
fucking threatened to sue people for having a negative opinion.
Having a negative opinion isn't always bad. Sometimes it can open your eyes to things if you're willing to accept a slice of humble pie.
Exactly. It's like what I said either last show or the show before about how modders made the Sunset and Sunset Wilds without modifying the game engine that Nintendo's using.
Mhm.
Like, Nintendo needs to consider if modders can do it, and people say it would improve upon the game's design for Sunset Wilds to have its signature gimmick.
Mhm.
Instead of saying, oh, we're Nintendo, we're practically perfect in every way.
Mhm.
No, you're not Mary fucking Poppins, okay? You're not. Instead of copping that attitude, just be like, I mean, sure, we can tell the modders to stop it, send them cease and desist letters, but I mean, we should also follow their example.
Mhm.
And that can be said for any developer, first, second, or third party. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, yes, my opinion about games too, as far as like maybe that's too challenging. And one of those that come up for me would be like Mega Man X6.
Ah.
That one they made way too challenging. Like
Wasn't that also the point where they dropped the side-scrolling perspective and went full 3D platformer, or was that X5?
no, that was X7.
X7 was the first one to drop the 2D side-scrolling.
Yeah.
Huh, why do I think that X5 and X6 did too? Huh.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then X8, they went back to the side scrolling.
Yeah, I never noticed that about X8. I thought once X7 went into the 3D perspective, I thought that was the way it was for X8 too.
No, it does have non 2D sections, but it's mostly 2D because they learned their lesson finally. I think from all the negative feedback, like we were talking about, from X6
Sega
and
still hasn't
X7.
learned their lesson about 3D Sonic games yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, like in X6, they just made things so challenging. Like they didn't even consider the player at all. Like it's just one like mega trap after another. Whereas
Yeah.
all the other games beforehand at least give you some pause and rest, you know?
Yeah. And I will say, like, too challenging might be too much. Like, I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna agree with like all the whiny journalists. Oh, all games in the world should be super easy.
Mm-hmm.
No, but make sure you're balancing the game. If you want to make a game that's open to everybody, regardless of skill level, you got to find that right balance. And I'm just going to say this because if it becomes a topic on the show, so be it. If not, like, I stand difficulty modes. Make the game super easy. Then make the game a little bit harder. Then make it a little bit harder. Then make it, oh God, mommy!
Yeah.
It's like when Fire Emblem Fates came out. People were pretty much like, how dare Intelligent System put Phoenix mode in? Why? Why are they ruining the game? I'm sorry, but if that's you, what I'm about to say is not an opinion. What I'm about to say is fact. If that is your take on them putting an easier difficulty in, you are of the mindset that they are forcing you to use that difficulty.
Right.
Yeah.
That is not an opinion. That is a fact. If you truly understood that they put the classic difficulty in for people who like a tougher challenge, you would shut your fucking mouth and let people have the easier difficulty mode.
Yeah, I mean, the easier difficulty's there, but you don't have to use it. You don't have. It's not like it's locked behind like a difficulty's locked and the one you want to get. You have to beat each game each time.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just gonna. I was just going to say.
You talk. Focus. Go ahead.
I was just going to say they should have difficulty. I mean, they should be able to make it for every game where you have a customizable difficulty level and customizable, sub options for like specific things in the game, like items or whatever, or
Yeah.
that sort of thing, so
Because
that players can tailor it to their experience levels.
exactly, because I love a good video game, and
Mhm.
there are games that I love, but I still suck at some of them because they've always been a bit more on the challenging side. And with all the games I've played throughout my life, I've never really gotten good at some of them. Others I've improved at, but it's like, if you're having trouble balancing the game, like start off simple and progressively get harder.
Mhm.
It's like, then difficulty options are the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with having a game with multiple difficulty options for people of different skill levels.
Mm-hmm.
If the developer wants to, like From Software,
Mm-hmm.
they're known for making brutally difficult games.
Mm-hmm.
But people love the games they put out.
Mm-hmm.
These games are not for people who are of a simpler skill level
Mm-hmm.
or not used to brutally challenging games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they wanted to put a difficulty mode in and more people played the games,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, nobody needs to hit the fucking roof about it. They can just be like, well, I'll just play on the traditional classic mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, like I said about like Dark Souls being all about pattern. I've never played Dark Souls. I only know this because people I know who have played it. I was like, well, I don't know how the difficulty in the game works. I've never played it. Oh, it's about pattern recognition. Each boss uses a certain pattern, and once you figure that pattern out, it becomes easier to beat them. Oh. I mean, they figured out how to make hard games, but still put a semblance of fair challenge in. You're going to fuck up a few times. You're going to die. But you're going to learn,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes the games so enjoyable, even at a harder difficulty level. People love the games because you are able. Like, I've played so many games where, like, I will admit, when you fuck up, sometimes it's your fault. But let's face it, there are instances where, and this goes with bad level design or bad challenges, goes all the way back to the initial discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you fuck up, it's the game's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
Mm-hmm.
The best zone, the best example of level design in the whole game, Green Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Marble is an example of you learn from your mistakes and you move. Spring Yard. You're on the screen, moving around, you're timing your jumps, and next thing you know, you lose a life.
Mm-hmm.
Guess why? That fucking kangaroo armadillo crossover enemy that can attack you from off screen. First off, how is that even fair? That thing jumps you, you lose all your rings. You didn't even know it was there because it was on another screen.
Mm-hmm.
We move into Labyrinth Zone. I think that's going to be an instance where you have to question when bad level design is a matter of fact and a matter of opinion, Labyrinth literally teeters between that line.
Yeah.
To this day, I have not finished Sonic 1 with Knuckles in Origins because of that game. That level is just so bad. I cannot get through it. There is no amount of getting good. That level was badly designed from start to finish. And I wouldn't blame anyone for blaming the game if they couldn't get past it. And then Starlight Zone, just one big bottomless pit with way too many loops and speed ramps. Nearly impossible for you to time your jumps and avoid some bottomless pits. Rat Brain, I feel like it teeters between it could be challenging and it could just be, this is the equivalent of a bad Mario Maker level by an idiotic 12-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, challenges should be fair. They should be fun. And even if the game's not easy, there should still be a good semblance of balance to make sure that the players are enjoying themselves and feel that sense of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But moving on, Matt, tell us about game manuals. Tell us what even happened to game manuals. They seem to be gone this day and age.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Like back in the old computer days, games used to come with awesome game manuals, and I mean, even some console games did, like the original Gran Turismo, and like.
Oh, Matt, by the way, that movie's in theaters.
Yeah, I heard.
Did you finally get to see it?
Oh no, not yet.
Let us know when you do.
Yeah, and anyways, like for games like one of my favorites was the StarCraft manual, because that would explain like the lore behind like all the different races and all the different like like all that you could do in the game and everything.
Yeah.
And so if you read the manual, you could pretty much easily understand everything about the game.
Mhm.
And nowadays they just don't do that, because they just think they can put a tutorial level and that'll be good enough. But sometimes
if a tutorial level is annoying, I can understand why it's there, but it's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Go
ahead. I'm sorry.
Go, you first.
Okay. Well, I think that there shouldn't be a tutorial level. There should be like a tutorial mode, like that just is like, oh, here's how you do this and this and this, and then you start the game after you get out of the tutorial mode. Like
Yeah.
it should be optional.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, going back to manuals, and I know in some cases, at least during the 3DS era, I mean, Nintendo did have some electronic manuals you could view.
Yeah.
But like, I miss the day, like the old '90s, like when, like, I bought, or rather, like, like for like the Christmas Hanukkah season, back when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I had my Game Boy, and my grandmother got me Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins.
Mm-hmm.
And after I opened my present, I remember taking the plastic wrap off. The first thing I did before I stuck the game into the cartridge is I pulled out the manual.
Mm-hmm.
And it told the story about how when Mario was away in Sarasa Land, rescuing Daisy from Tatanga, that big, bad childhood rival of his, Donkey Kong, I'm kidding, Wario. Wait, Brett, remind me, did it say Wario or a fat, gassy tub of lard?
Doesn't Wario translate to that?
To all of you who want to correct us in the comments and say that is not what Wario translates into, remember, these are the jokes.
That's a joke between the three of us and some of our friends.
Yeah.
Give me a second. But yeah, like, Wario took over his castle, so now I have to go get the 6 golden coins and take my castle back.
Yeah.
I got to see all the enemies. I got to see the game's controls, One thing that I did not know about until a few years ago, on the file select screen, you press select, Mario shrinks. You can play in an easy mode where some of the enemies aren't as present. And it's a little bit easier to navigate the stages.
Yeah.
Didn't put that in the manual. It's a secret that you discover somehow.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, manuals were nice because, like, you can see in the background, I have every Switch game I own is in original box. And while cardboard boxes of the 80s and 90s weren't the best way to go, and like the plastic casing is the better way to go, a manual, like a little booklet with illustrations and stuff, it brings the whole package together very nicely.
Yeah, especially depending on how creative the manual can be.
Yeah.
Like how much they can
I'll
put
tell
into
you
it.
how creative the manuals can be.
Yeah.
Back in 2013, when I first got my own Wii,
Mhm.
I bought Mario Party 8. This is how creative the manuals are. So creative, I got a Super Mario Galaxy manual in mine. You've seen that, right, Brent?
Yes, I did.
I don't know what the previous owner was doing with their shit, but like I have a copy of Mario Party 8 with the Super Mario Galaxy manual in it. I don't even own Galaxy at the moment. I mean, unless you count 3D All Stars behind me, unless you count it, I don't own official Wii Galaxy.
Yeah.
I have the manual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hun, where does this manual go? I'll just put it in a box. Okay.
Probably what went through their heads. I won't discount that.
That's what I think it happened. I'm sticking with it.
You and me both.
Yep.
But tell us your thoughts on manuals and some fun stories, Brent.
Don't really have too many fun stories per se, but I think that manuals can be pretty useful, like as a way to both give like a bit of a background into the story. You know, doing something that like what usually nowadays the back of a box actually does.
Yeah.
And I think that if a person is very creative in the way, they can make the manual like not just like reading through there, because we all know people like these day and age don't want to read anything.
Mhm.
So,
by the way, while you're talking, I'm gonna take that back of the box challenge.
okay,
So,
fair enough.
continue while I pick a game.
Okay, but like basically, it doesn't just have to be like text and stuff. You can add like illustrations and stuff to make it interesting, eye-catching, making people want to actually look through them.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I wish was still done these days.
Yeah.
All right, so the back of the box does what the manual can do, huh?
Yeah, well, gives you an overview of what's going on in there.
Can't really see it.
Everyone is here.
Oh, Smash Brothers?
Can the manual do just this or more than this?
Probably more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Every Smash Brothers fighter returns, joined by all new challengers. I'm not even going to try reading the Spanish lest I mangle it. 70 fighters, 70 plus fighters, 100 plus stages, new game modes, and more. All new adventure mode. That's literally all this fucking thing tells me.
That's what I'm saying is that, like, the manual used to be able to do that sort of stuff, whereas, like, back of the box usually just gives you, like, a small snippet.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I can't name exactly some of them, but I do remember some manuals would have, like, an entire page dedicated to, like, the backstory of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And did you know that the original Gran Turismo manual for the original PlayStation, it had like an entire like driver's guide
Oh,
in it.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that because I didn't have that.
Yeah, like it would say, if you come to this turn, here's how you're supposed to approach the turn.
Mhm.
If you come to this straightaway, but it's a short straightaway, you should probably brake near the end of it or something. And it was really detailed.
Me proceeds to just turn and crash. I would. I could do Mario Kart without smart steering, but that is the height of my ability in driving-based games.
Okay, put it in reverse and.
Pretty sure they don't use that mailbox, so for it!
Yeah.
I'm just making a joke, dude.
Yeah.
What am I? More like I'm adding on to the joke, but still.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's what I miss about game manuals is like the really detailed ones that went into everything about the games.
Oh yeah, I mean, a few years back, I actually found like something for like $2 to $4 was selling an old copy of the Super Mario Brothers 2 manual. Sorry, Super Mario Land 2.
Ah.
Mhm.
Please
awesome.
tell me when I started talking about the game a little ways back, I said Super Mario Land 2, and I did not accidentally say Super Mario Brothers 2 on the Game Boy.
No, you said
No,
Land.
yeah, you said Land.
Okay, good, because that's going to come back to haunt me in the comments if I fucked up. I mean, if it's still for sale, I consider buying it just to have a little piece of my childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this one. Like, I watched this one YouTuber's video. His name is LGR.
Lazy Game Reviews?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
know.
and he has a ton of like old. I mean, he pretty much has every old computer game bots and stuff.
Quite the
With
impressive collection.
Yeah, it's just amazing how many huge botches they made with huge manuals for PC.
I was back when games came on discs or big honking CDs.
Yeah.
In this day and age, you want to use CD-based stuff on your computer. You need a fucking USB.
Yeah.
I think it's just because just about everybody uses Steam or Epic. That because you can buy the occasional physical PC game these days, but I feel like the manufacturers of the machines just at this point I just don't think they care anymore because digital future.
Yeah, and once again, I think that takes away some level of ownership for the players, but
I know that and this is probably something we can discuss more in depth. Like, Jesus, how many times do we come up with ideas we can discuss more in depth mid-show? And we got to start archiving and see what topics we brought up that we didn't go in depth and just bring up. But I mean, like fucking I take where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I remember recently watching. I forget the name of the YouTuber. I think he was British, but it was the guy was just like how like physical still does not qualify as game preservation. Yeah. I'll have to see where that can go, but
Well, I mean, I think it does, but at the same time, you do need to back it up to other sources.
Yeah. Not everybody has to know how to do that. Yeah.
That's why they should be loaned out to people who could do that, so that they can be preserved.
And make sure that all the bozos who what am I thinking of? All the bozos in the game development industry who are all like, game preservation equals bad. Let me do my best angry scientist from Sheep in the Big City. You are to be only playing the new games.
Yeah.
I mean, let the old games be preserved one way or another.
Yeah.
If game developers would get in on the spirit, they could find ways to make it work. And like where Nintendo is concerned, I will give them some leeway because some games were under licenses that the developers chose not to renew and chose not to surrender the intellectual rights to Nintendo so that Nintendo could catalog them. That's about negotiation. Yeah. And our last topic for the night, arcade memories. Take it away.
Yeah, well, this topic is more like just a discussion of like, your fondest memories from the arcade, games, locations, that sort of stuff. I don't remember exactly the location where it was, but when I was very young, I used to go to this like arcade with some friends from elementary school. And the thing we would usually play would be the X-Men arcade game. I usually was Wolverine. What?
Was that the beat 'em up?
Yeah, the beat 'em up.
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
I usually was Wolverine because I thought he was cool.
Mhm.
And you have a habit of calling us Bub off camera, Bub.
I don't do that. I do not do that.
Why, thank you, Senator.
Quick hobby that. But yeah, I also remember I also like really enjoyed playing Galaga when I was a kid. I was really into space, so seeing a space fighter with I shooting at a bunch of aliens really caught my eye.
Mhm.
So when I wasn't with friends, that's the game I would normally play. But what about you guys? Any particular arcades?
Well, there's one memory that's semi-fond, but involves people we don't talk about. So I'll share a memory from before those days.
Go right ahead, Gear. This is for good memories.
Mhm.
At the time, it was a good memory.
I know.
So in 2012, I was seeing a girl. 'Cause I was up in Tampa at the time. So I was back up in Tampa. And I was seeing a girl from Lakeland. And I had taken the Greyhound up to visit. And she picked me up from the station. We went to a family fun center. We were playing around, enjoying the games. I find a centipede machine. Oh, fuck yeah. So I play, I get a game over. I turn around to walk away, and I hear a noise on the machine. I turn back around. It's asking me to enter my initials in the top spot on the leaderboard.
Hmm.
Only one play session.
Mhm.
And I got a free game out of it.
Nice.
Now, I never got to go back to that arcade. And 2012 was, 11 years ago from doing the math?
Yeah, 11 years ago.
Mhm.
We'll be 12 come the new year.
Mhm.
So, unless they reset the machine every now and again, let's pretend they don't do that for argument's sake.
Mhm.
If nobody has beat that score, to this day, I could still be holding the top spot on that machine.
Mhm.
Could. Not sure.
Mhm.
Maybe one day if I ever get a chance to go back, if the machine's still there, I can check and see if my initials are still there.
Mhm.
It was because fresh out of college, like 3 years prior, web design degree, I just used the initials XML in reference to the markup language.
Mhm.
So if there's still an XML on the leaderboard at the Family Fun Center in Lakeland, that's me.
Mhm.
Mhm.
All right, Shadow Puppet, you're up.
Well, for me, I'd say like my first arcade memory is playing against. I was a kid and I played against this older guy in a Street Fighter 2, and like he soundly beat me, but um from then on I was hooked on fighting games. So I mean and I think this was in an arcade in Louisiana.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. I think it was in a pizza parlor too. So
Ooh,
yeah, and
those were the days.
yeah, and then another arcade memory I have is I would go to the skating rink sometimes in Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
and like there was a Samurai Showdown 3 machine,
Nice.
and I started getting really far, and like all my friends crowded around me and were like, "Oh wow, look how far he's getting," and it was it was just so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say there was another arcade in Tennessee where like I played where I saw these older people play Tekken 3,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just always so much fun to watch them play against each other because you could see how like you could see techniques that you would normally wouldn't see until they released it on the original PlayStation.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Mhm. Speaking of fighting games,
Hmm.
Guilty Gear Accent Core. Is
Hmm.
Eno just over the top, or am I just that bad? I don't think I've ever seen anybody beat Eno in Accent Core story mode.
I have, but
You will have to teach me your secrets,
Yeah.
Master Matt Yagi.
But she is really hard. Like, I mean, she has like almost practically one-hit kills. So
And that one thing that's a bitch and a half to avoid, where she
yeah,
like fills the screen with all those weird signs.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll have to show you how to beat her.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a fun game, but Jesus, that boss.
Yeah, Guilty Gear continues the tradition in Strive. I haven't played the story mode in Zerd yet, but yeah,
I haven't gotten off my lazy ass and bought Zerd yet, and that 50% off sale from the time that I bought Metal Hellsinger on stream is pretty much over and done with.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, those are my arcade memories. So,
Any more exciting memories you do?
um, oh yeah, I played Street Fighter Alpha 3 with my friends on the opening night of this this part of like a mall. No, this new mall was opening up, and everybody was invited to go to it, and
Mhm.
like they had this arcade section, and we all decided to play like Street Fighter Alpha 3, and it was all for free. Like you could play any of the games actually for free at the mall arcade, and it was just awesome
Mhm.
because we also played Soul Calibur.
I've only ever seen Soul Calibur play outside of the arcades and like the home console editions.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
uh,
yeah, I mean, arcades have been a pretty big part of my nerdy life, you know?
hmm
Oh, yeah. It seems like all my best stories are when I'm on dates, but in my college days, I was on a date, group date. I went up to pay for me and the girl I was with.
hmm
Turned my back after I finished paying to head back and meet everyone, and what do I see? Metal Slug 4 machine. What do? Start
You
pumping in
play.
my quarters. What does
Yeah.
she do? All right, come on, it's time to go. But I've almost beaten this helicopter.
Come on.
Come on! That should drag me off. But I want to play Metal Slug. Please just let me have my game. I mean, to be fair, it was time to go, but I was practically hugging the machine, like, can I just play a little more, please? And then Metal Slug.
Oh, and one other thing. First shooter that I actually played, Time Crisis 2.
Well,
Huh.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love the Time Crisis series.
they're good.
Oh, in high school, I was at an arcade for an event.
Mhm.
Private to the event, right?
Yeah.
I beat House of the Dead 3 from start to finish.
That's
Real estate
awesome.
heals itself halfway through.
Mhm.
And I pumped so much credit. It was a Dave & Buster's into the machine. My left shoulder was sore for like a week.
Mm.
But I finished the game from start to finish.
Mm.
Saw the end credits and everything.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Brent, you said that you played the X-Men arcade game, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I played it with my friends too. And we played it from start to finish. Like when I went to like a Chuck E. Cheese's as a kid. You know, with the weird animatronics and everything.
Are you sure you're not talking about Freddy Fazbear's? I don't know. I went with the first set of animatronics unrelated to Chuck E. Cheese that came into my head.
Yeah. But yeah, we played it at a Chuck E. Cheese's, and yeah, we probably spent about a good $20 in quarters to beat it.
Damn.
So yeah,
Good shit.
yeah.
Mhm.
Excuse me while I wipe my mouth.
Mhm.
Ow! Fuck! I just walked chest first, abdomen first into a bar stool.
Ow.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. If I'm not injuring myself on camera, I'm breaking lamps because I forget they're behind me.
Mm.
You weren't there for that, were you?
Mm-mm.
I'll tell you the story another day.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think unless we have any more to add, this is where we're going to cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You know the drill, everybody. Thoughts, opinions, insulting my shirt or my face in the comments below. And,
Why would anyone insult your shirt? It's great.
Fair enough. Yes, I know what you were doing there. And we will see you all next week.
All right,
Bye.
then. Bye.
Bye.